Hey guys, it's your girl Carrie, and today I'm going to share with you my $500 budget-friendly dining room refresh. Now this is not a makeover because most of the key furniture pieces remain the same. So let's take a look at the before. So for the past 15 years, our dining room looked exactly like this. We had burnt orange walls with the dark brown metal wall art. Our window treatment consisted of a fabric DIY valance made from a tablecloth. And we also purchased the napkins to the tablecloth so that we could bring the valance down to our table. If I can find a picture, I'll insert what that looks like, but that was many years ago. Now over in the corner, we had our buffet with a picture frame, and each season I would just switch out a seasonal wreath and just place that over top of the frame. And here is the after. So I'm going to walk you around the room and share my tips and tricks and explain where I spent my 500 bucks. So the first thing you can do to transform your space is to paint. It's relatively inexpensive and it packs a huge punch. And I spent $70 on 2 gallons of paint. I bought the Behr Premium Paint Plus Primer from Home Depot, and that was $34 a gallon. I already had all of the other paint supplies needed to paint the room, like brushes, rollers, and things like that. Now my second tip would be to dress your windows. And my husband made a beautiful custom wooden valance for these windows. So we took down that old fabric valance and he made this beautiful custom wood valance. Let me see if I can zoom in. It's very simple. We just took a pine board and added some trim to it. It was very simplistic, but very elegant, and it adds a huge impact to the room. And to do this custom valance, it was $50 for all the materials and supplies. Now the beautiful drapery, I had already had the fabric. You guys have always heard me talk about the discount fabric store that I always go to. I had this fabric for several years. I pulled it out and asked my mom could she make me some drapes, and I purchased this fabric for $5 for the entire roll of fabric. And if you look on the edge of your fabric, it will normally tell you who the maker is, and then you can also see the colors that are in your fabric. So if you want to go match up anything, it'll show you all the different colors that are actually in your fabric, so you know how to pull colors and coordinate with the room. But when I went to look up Jacqueline Smith and this particular fabric online, this fabric is almost $40 a yard. So in order to make these curtains, if I had to buy this retail, you need 3 yards per panel, and that would be 6 yards. So it would be $240 just for the fabric, not including the lining and anything like that. So my mom sewed it for me for free, but these panels would have cost me over $350 to have made. Now let's take a look at the walls on either side of the drapery. Now if you remember from my previous video when I did my haul on the items for this room, you would remember I already had this beautiful sconce, but I only had one of them because Hobby Lobby ran out of them. They gave me a rain check, but then called me back and told me that this particular model was discontinued. So I had this one sconce for years and did not know what to do with it. I tried to incorporate it into the design, but I couldn't figure out where to just put one sconce. So I just said, let me Google it online, see if another store would sell something similar. And lo and behold, the first store that I located that sold these sconces, they were selling them for $257 each. And I thought, oh, no way would I pay $257 when I only paid 40 bucks for it. With further investigation, I found out that Pier 1 sold the exact same sconce for $69.99, I believe, and then I had a 25% off coupon and free shipping. So I ended up paying $55 for the second sconce. Now the next spot underneath the sconce is my bar cart, and all of these items I already had. I did not purchase anything to decorate the bar cart. So here, you guys have seen me share this on a previous thrift shop haul. I picked up this Pottery Barn antique champagne bucket for $2.50. And I just stuck in a bottle of champagne. And you guys remember in my previous video when I shared with you items that I shopped my home for to decorate this room. I have these two vintage picture frames. You can see that one there, and the second one is down here. I wanted to put those two pictures on that blank wall right there, but I realized it was out of balance because the pictures were not big enough for the scale of that wall. So I'm going to have my husband custom make me two more frames that will coordinate with that, and I'll put those up at a later time. But for right now, we're just going to leave that wall blank. And I'll just be using them as kind of like a riser decoration for our spring decor, like Easter decor. And what I did was just lay it down flat, and I set our really cute champagne flutes on there. And I have 3 of them that say celebrate, and 3 of them that says cheers. I love these little things. I got them from, I think, Home Goods several years ago. And then over here, this is the Target bunny. I had this for a couple of years. They brought this back several years in a row, but I've had this for a while out of the Target dollar spot. I just added in a beautiful faux arrangement and stuck that right here. And then down at the bottom, my little bunny. I love this bunny. Normally, this is in my kitchen, on my kitchen countertops during the spring/Easter season, but I thought I'd put it here on top of one of those picture frames. And then I took several of my cake stands and just put that down there, and we'll just put some desserts and things in there for Easter. Then on the opposite side, in the corner below that sconce, I just put in my favorite stand. I bought this thrifting years ago, and it's just a unique 3 champagne bucket tiered stand. And I think I shared this in my 5 favorite thrift finds. I'll link that video below as well. So the only money that was spent on the back wall of this makeover was for the valance. That was $50, and then I had to buy the additional matching sconce for $55. So the entire back wall, I spent only $105. Now let's turn our attention to this empty wall here where I used to have that dark colored wall art. And this is what I replaced it with. If you guys remember my shop with me at the consignment store, I picked up this beautiful piece of textured artwork, and I actually found out that this was sold at Pottery Barn. This is actually a Pottery Barn piece. I picked it up from the consignment store for $85, and I believe it was being sold at Pottery Barn for $250. And the 2 vintage botanical prints on the wall, I picked those up from Home Goods, and those were $39.99 a piece. So that entire wall of artwork rang in at $165, and I think it makes a wonderful, huge impact. And finally, here we are over in the little cove where I have my buffet set up, and pretty much everything that you see here on the buffet setup I've already had, with the exception of my beautiful meat dome planter. I shared this with you in one of my antique thrift find videos, and I just absolutely love this because it represents me. Now, a lot of times folks ask me, hey Carrie, how would you describe your design style? And I say my design style is as follows. I love something old, something new, something natural, and something you. So in all of my spaces, you'll find something old, which I love all these vintage pieces. As you can see, I have like these vintage buffet. I have the vintage frames here and my vintage meat dome planter. So those are all of my something old. And then I like something new. So here, you see this little bunny here, this little antique silver bunny. I purchased this last year for Easter, and I had it out on my foyer entryway table, but I just put it in here on the silver butler's tray for this year. So that's my kind of something new. It's not new this year, but it's new-ish. I didn't buy it this year, but it's new-ish. And my other something new are these blush plates that you guys saw me haul in the Walmart haul. And again, these beautiful blush plates were 88 cents, and I will be doing my tablescape for that. And then also these beautiful napkin rings. They're made to look vintagey, but they are also new. And again, I already had these, but they were new when I purchased them. They weren't like thrifted finds or vintage. And then my something natural is I always like to add either, texture, natural texture, like the burlap inlay. I put that inside of the frame. Something natural, putting in the floral arrangements. Now this one right here is a faux floral arrangement, but it can easily be swapped out for natural flowers. And the same to be said for like the little grass that's in my bunny dish. And what I plan on doing on Easter is actually filling that with an appetizer, but right now I just use that there as decor. And then my something you is a DIY. Now you guys have already seen some DIYs that I've added to the space, like our window valance and the curtains, but if you recall from my haul video for this room, I wanted to DIY these candlesticks. So if you have not seen that video, these are not actual lamps. These are actually candlesticks. And I'm going to remove the top. And as you can see, I needed to add height. I took these cute little Dollar Tree lunch storage towers. You can twist them off and you'll have just two sets of little cup for your dressing, and you can put, different lunch items in there. This was the perfect height to add the additional height I needed for the lampshade so that you could see the entire candlestick. And here's a little tip, a trick. I didn't glue this one down. I don't like to make things permanent. So what I would do so that I wouldn't have to mess this up, I would take some blue masking tape or any kind of tape, put the tape down on here, take the bottom of my lunch tower, and then put hot glue on the top of that and secure it like that. So when I'm ready to take it apart, I can just pull the tape off the candlestick and pull the tape off the bottom, and it's not a permanent fix. And I would do the exact same thing to the top, so when I put on my lampshade, it will be steady. I also chose to use a plastic container instead of glass, just in case it fell off or fell over, it wouldn't break or shatter. And I'm going to pull back so that you can see the difference. See, as you can see, I needed it to be high enough to see the little knob on my candlestick, but that's my little trick. Then for the rest of the decor on the buffet, I just have my monogrammed napkins, the plates, and then I just took a simple, little vintage speckled egg wreath, laid that at the bottom and set the plates on top, and I think that looks really, really cute. And then over here I took one of my vintage serving trays, put that down, put my bunny there. And then I just took some little silver bowls. I love collecting these in various sizes because they're just very simple and chic. And I just, I could use them for many, many things. I put condiments and things in here. But right now I'm just going to use it as decor. So I took the little bowl. I took this little nest that I already had from previous years, set that in there. Took a little bit of moss that I've already had, set that on top of the silver bowl. And then these little eggs right here, I actually clipped a few of them off my little wreath. You cannot tell where they actually came from, and plop them right in there. And how cute is that? Just a cute little elegant piece of decoration. Another really quick and easy spring item, I just took a cloche that I already had from years and years ago, and I took this architectural capital that I've had forever. I typically use this to sit my drink dispenser on top so that you could sit your cups under and actually get your drinks out from the dispenser. Took the eggs that I've had for several years, and I filled it up with the eggs and put a little bit of moss at the bottom and sat it on top of the capital. And I just think that looks really great. And then that just brings balance to the entire buffet because I have the egg theme kind of going through each section. There on the wreath, there in my bunny, and then the little nest, and there in the cloche. And then here, I just love this little thing. If you've been with me for a while, you would have seen this little bad boy, and this is called my Sugar Scuttle, and this is a little vintage piece. I love to collect little vintage pieces and add them in to my decor, and it's normally used back in the day for sugar, and you had your little scoop. You would scoop your sugar out and put it on your food, but I just used it for these little jelly beans, and I got these jelly beans from the Dollar Tree, and they are actually pretty good. And you can just stick your little spoon there when not in use. The only thing I purchased was my meat dome planter, and I had to purchase 2 lampshades for my candlestick. The lampshades were 10 bucks a piece, and I picked those up from Ross, and the meat dome planter was $50. So I spent a total of $70 out of my budget to update this space here, and everything else I already had. Now, here's another quick tip. I love to purchase, secondhand vintage pieces to add into my decor. And this particular piece right here, this buffet, I picked up years ago from the Goodwill. And can you believe I scored this beautiful mahogany inlaid piece for $75. I love it because it has a little brass apron detail that goes along the entire length of the buffet. And I've had this for many, many years. Now, when I purchased this, I actually saw it in another antique store, the exact same one, and they were selling it for $2,600. I just recently tried to look it up online to see if, they were selling another one somewhere else, and I actually found one that was being sold for $850. So anywhere between $850 to $2,600, I think my $75 was a steal. Now up here, my huge vintage picture frame. I scored this at the Goodwill as well for $25. And if you've been watching my videos and do the shop with me's when I go to the consignment and vintage stores, these frames can range anywhere from $250 on up. So to score that for 25 bucks, I was ecstatic. And last but not least, we're going to take a quick peek at the dining table. Now this is exactly the same. I did not change this. I had the table and chairs to this dining room set since we moved into this house for over 15 years. Do not plan on replacing them because honestly, they tie in with pretty much any decor theme and they do not look outdated at all. And what I like about when I'm mixing, if you remember over at the buffet, most of all that is vintage. And how do you mix old with the new? You pick something else that's very simplistic. If you look at my table, it's very simplistic and it follows the same color pattern, but it's not as ornate. So that's how it's able to blend in with all of the older pieces. And then my chairs, they're very, very simplistic as well, with just a natural neutral color on them so they can just blend in with all of my vintage pieces. So on the tabletop, if you remember from my haul video, this was also a free find. My mom, I found this on clearance for my mom's home, and she didn't particularly like this. This wasn't really her style, so I was able to snag that from her home and set it on my table. And then I just added this here for just YouTube decoration because I don't have my spring tablescape up just yet. So I just took a few grapes, threw that on there, a faux flower, and some sparkling water. And if you remember from years ago, I picked those little platters up from Home Goods for $5 each. And so that's the overview of the table. And this large piece here can just be left empty and sat just in the middle of the table, and you don't have to put anything else around it. You could also turn it into a beautiful large floral arrangement, or you could also just use it as the champagne or ice bucket as it's intended for. And that's it. So my grand total for this room makeover was $418. So I still have $82 left to spend on the table. Now, if I were to purchase all of these items that I shared with you retail, my grand total would have been over $3,200. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment below telling me what was your favorite thing about this refresh. And until next time, I'm going to keep calm and carry on. Bye guys.